To Wembley, always a very special day in the Rugby League calendar, and it's a dramatic one today. We're in the midst of a triple header. St Helens have already won the Women's Challenge Cup final. Behind me now, we're in golden point extra time of Hull KR Lee in the Men's Challenge Cup final. And then live and exclusive here on our league, we have the AB Sundecks 1895 Cup final between Halifax Panthers and Batley Bulldogs. Batley, the first ever winners of the Challenge Cup, have never been here to Wembley. Halifax are tasting the National Stadium experience here for the first time in 35 years. So much up for grabs today. The whole of the match coming up live and exclusive here on our league. Team news to follow after we hear next from the two head coaches.
Sam, it feels like that week has flown by. How are you? How are the boys? How is everything?
Yeah, good. Pretty relaxed, to be honest. We've had a good prep and short prep. You know, after the Sunday game, it's turned around pretty fast, and we've done everything we need to do now. The talking's done. It's time to go and do the business.
Have you been able to take it all in yet?
Yeah, that's been the message throughout the week. Just try and absorb it all, because when you're a little bit older like myself, these days seem so long ago. So yeah, we've all enjoyed it. We've took it for what it is so far. A great opportunity to spend time with each other and showcase what we've got and obviously what Championship's got on the national stage.
Have you talked about history, the 35 years since Halifax were here, anything like that?
I think everyone else talks about that, so we've left that to everyone else, but we have mentioned the fact that it would be nice to get some of those nice images and have some players within this group revered, such as the blokes that won that cup all that long time ago. So yeah, it'd be nice to give our fans something to shout about that's a little bit more modern.
And as a head coach, your job now is just to win a game of rugby, so what are your thoughts? What have you been working on during the week? This is a team that you've had some really big contests with Batley over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I suppose we know what we're getting, and they know what they'll be getting from us as well. And it's been a short week, so we haven't done that much physical prep. It's been more around the mental preparation of getting up for a big game, really. And we've had a few good chats in there, which have been quite inspiring for some, I think. But yeah, I think everyone knows what they need to do, which is the important bit. We've got a pretty clear and simple plan of how we'd like to go about the game today and start the game well. But yeah, we'll see when we get out there. Everything can change in a flash, can't it? So yeah, we'll just plan to play what's in front of us and not get too ahead of ourselves.
And just as a final thought, take us into that dressing room. Just a couple of minutes before you come out, are you saying anything? Are you a silent? Are you a barker? What's going on?
I think tradition says coaches speak before every game. I try to say as little as possible because we do a lot of talk through the week, and as I said at the beginning of this interview, I think the talking's done now, really. Just be a good luck message, and we'll get back together at half time.
Very best of luck today.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate.
Great to see you. Welcome to Wembley. How is everyone?
Excited, yeah. I think it'd be good. We just watched the first half of the main game. I think that settled a few nerves and let people get acclimatised to the stadium. The walk round yesterday were outstanding, fantastic to come and have a look at the stadium yesterday. And I think nerves were settled as they did that. And coming here today and witnessing the game firsthand with the crowd in as well. It's been a nice little occasion as that. But now it's fully focused on the job in hand.
What kind of thing are you feeling right now as a head coach?
I'm proud, very proud. My time here is coming up to an end at the end of this season, so it's a feeling of pride. I've spent a lot of time at this club. It's meant a lot to me as this club as well. This group of players as well, special group of players that we've got, and the bond that they've built amongst themselves as well. It's first class. So really proud to lead them out. Spoke to the players this morning as a last bit of build up and said I never got anywhere near this as a player. So I'm really envious of the fact that the 17 are stepping out on the field today. But proud to lead them out as a coach and a great group of blokes that they are as well.
And what does it mean to Batley? You've talked about this a lot in the build up to this game, but now you're here. For the first ever winners of the Challenge Cup who've never been to Wembley to be here and a chance to add something else.
It's huge and it's a bit strange to be fair because it didn't really hit me until we got here yesterday. Because we knew that after the semi-final we were going to play in this stadium, but all the build-up that goes with organising the trip down here, sorting the hotels out, and the coach and the kit and everything else that goes with an event like this. But up until we walked into the tunnel yesterday, walked into the tunnel yesterday, and you can see sort of 20 yards in front of you a little bit of the grass, and you start walking further forward, and it comes out in front of you. It's just an amazing feeling when you walk in there. But for the club, it's huge. Kevin, who's been the chairman for 25 years, it's sort of a culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication that Kevin's put in, but also people like Paul Harrison as well who've spent a lot of time at the club, and some volunteers. We've got Sammy Haig and Alan Waite as well who do a lot of work in and around the club as well, so it's fantastic for them people as well.
And when we talk about the occasion and the history of the theatre, which we get caught up in a lot, we sometimes forget it's a rugby match and you as head coach have to go about winning it against an opponent like Halifax, a familiar foe, someone you've played and beaten well recently. How are you feeling about the game itself and what you have to do to make sure you win?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head there. It's about managing the emotion that comes with this occasion, but also remembering it's just an 80-minute game of rugby. And I think as you've seen in the first half there's been a lot of errors in that first half. Maybe both teams haven't settled, so I think whichever team settles better is going to be with a really good chance of putting themselves in a good position of winning the game. So it's up to us to go out there and settle us better than what Halifax do. Games historic.
Special moments as the two teams make their way out onto this iconic surface at the National Stadium. Two sides of great history. Halifax Panthers back at Wembley for the first time in 35 years, and Batley Bulldogs, the first ever Challenge Cup winners, making their first ever Wembley appearance in their 143-year history. 80 minutes on the way to find a winner in this fourth instalment of the AB Sundecks 1895 Cup. The two sides will be presented to the dignitaries, so let's confirm the lineups for you. Batley Bulldogs have Luke Hooley on loan, back on loan from the Leeds Rhinos at full-back. The hat-trick scorer last time Batley played Halifax, and it's Morton, Hodgson, Kieran McGowan. The halves, familiar pairing of James Meadows and Josh Woods. Up front, Adam Gledhill, Ben White and James Brown. And completing the 13, Dane Manning, Kieran Buchanan and Martin Riley. The bench today, Alistair Leake, Niall Flynn, Michael Ward and Sammy Kabula. For the head coach you just heard from, the departing at the end of the season, Craig Lingard. What about Simon Grix's Halifax Panthers today? They've got a lively fullback too in Brandon Pickersgill. Then James Saltonstall on his 200th club appearance. What a place to make it, with Zach McComb, Jack Mason and top try scorer Lachlan Wormsley, 30 tries in the championship alone. Louis Dufresne and James Woodburn Hall will supply the guile in the halves. A pack of Colcott, Moore and Murray, and completing the 13, Ben Cavan and Matty G and Jacob Fairbank. The interchanges, Adam O'Brien Adam Tangata, Ryan Lannon and Kevin Fairbank. For the Panthers, head coach also leaving at the end of the year, Simon Grix. Well, we've had two dramatic Betfred Challenge Cup finals today. St Helens taking the women's spoils, and in Golden Point extra time, Lee edging out Hull Kingston Rovers, the first ever Golden Point extra time Challenge Cup win. And you just wonder what the final chapter of today's Wembley triple header is going to be between these two famous old sides. Delighted to have alongside me a Challenge Cup winner in Paul Cook, who's stayed to soak up the final game of three, and we're quite hopeful of another entertaining contest, Paul.
Yeah, we've had two, haven't we, George, already today. A fantastic win for St Helens women over Leeds Rhinos. A real performance of quality from them, and the first Golden Point win for any club in the Challenge Cup final. And here at Wembley, a drop goal which snuck its way over from Lachlan Lamb, didn't it? It wasn't the best of drop goals, but they all mean 1 point, and in Golden Point they all mean the winning point. So congratulations to Derek Beaumont, who is a friend of mine. I texted him this morning and sent him a message of good luck. Commiserations to Neil Hudgell, who's another friend of mine, who I sent a text and wished him good luck. And certainly not a place for losers, I feel, for all the Hull KR fans. I've been up there with my partner Lynn Marie and my youngest daughter Ivy, who's gone back to the hotel and soaking, or I dare say drowning some sorrows for them, being from East Hull ourselves. And yeah, we hope for a really, really good game here this afternoon to finish us off. It's two of the best teams in the Championship without a shadow of a doubt. Two great coaches in Simon Grix and Craig Lingard, and just looking down at pitch side there, Craig Lingard without his shoes on again, he's still barefoot, isn't he? It's his little superstition. It's fantastic.
Well, special moment for these two clubs as we pause before kick-off to observe the national anthem.
For the next 13 seconds, let us come together to celebrate our sport and its amazing athletes, match officials and fans, and to show our support and anti-discrimination throughout rugby league. We can mark this moment by standing if you're able, sitting and applauding, or singing. We are rugby league together. We are here. We are here.
The players disperse. Jack Smith is the man in the middle. And these two old foes go toe to toe on the biggest stage. It's Batley Bulldogs or Halifax Panthers to take home the prize. These are moments these two clubs don't experience too often. The fans have travelled in number from these two famous old rugby league locations. And Louis Dufresne will get us underway. It's the fourth instalment of the AB Sundecks 1895 Cup. And we're underway. Dufresne swings the right boot, and Batley will have first feel of the football. with the Halifax fans over to our left-hand side. So they will hope they'll be seeing a lot of their players this first half. Halifax attacking their own fans, and the ball's come free early. Early decision for Jack Smith, who said knock on. And a perfect start for the Panthers.
Yeah, I watched the Challenge Cup final, George, and I saw Hull KR kick the ball off, and then 4 tackles in, Reece Kennedy gives a penalty away, and they get the ball, and then they give another penalty away in possession, Hull KR. And in big games, George, for me, you've got to start well. You've trained all week for these first 3, 4, 5 sets of 6, and Batley this time have coughed it up. What I will say is I thought they started poorly in the Summer Bash weekend at York, where Halifax flew off the blocks and got away to a lead, but Batley pegged them back and ended up getting the victory. So there's a little bit of hope there for Batley, but you can't start big games in a poor way.
What an opportunity for Halifax to strike first. Brandon Moore restarting from the base of the scrum. He's there again, buzzing around the ruck. And they're going up the middle early with Calcott taking the next drive. Moore glances left, has a look right. Woodburn Hall is there at first receiver. Eventually he is hauled to ground, and Isleworth boy. Wonder if his friends and family are here today. Dufresne senses a gap in the line and darts through. Batley already back on their line with Moore over the ball again. Calcott once more goes on his own and ducks towards the sticks. This is the last tackle. Have Halifax got a way through? Point blank range for Brandon Moore to open the scoring for Halifax. First set of 6, and the Panthers pounce first. It's Moore to give Halifax the dream start at Wembley.
Yeah, it's the error from the Batley Bulldogs coming out, George. That's the real issue for them. I mentioned to you just a minute ago that you can't start games poorly, and they've been punished to the nth degree here by Brandon Moore. He spent some time sat in the left-hand side of where we're in our commentary position with some Halifax fans and a sponsor of the club up there when Hull KR played against Lee, and I said I would mention them. It's such a big gap on the try line, isn't it, where Brandon Moore just exposes some really poor numbered defence. James Brown just gets attracted towards the ruck. He's on one knee, and by the time he gets off his knee, it's too difficult for Dane Manning to stop that try. You see Josh Woods turns away in a little bit of disgust, really, because that's far too easy. And for a rugby league team to concede a try like that, George, it's absolutely criminal.
Well, perfect for Halifax, but Craig Lingard, the Bulldogs head coach, will be absolutely fuming. The size of that gap on their own line.
He'll be hoping that he wakes up in his cornflakes and it's a bad dream, won't he, at the minute, because that's a really poor start from his team, from dropping the football to allowing Brandon Moore to go over. And then I think it's Dufresne who adds the extras from almost in front to give the Panthers a 6-0 lead very early in this game.
Barely 3 gone, and Halifax have a 6-0 lead. Moore's try, catching them cold from dummy half. And Louis Dufresne tagging on the 2. So we have another look. It was inviting.
It was too good to give up, wasn't it? It'd have been a poor play had Brandon Moore not dived over the amount of space that the Batley Bulldogs defenders gave him on try line. And as you say, George, that will really disappoint their coach, Craig Lingard.
So Batley through Luke Hooley, kicking off again, having barely had a possession.
2 tackles and
2 tackles and a knock on, and they find themselves 6-0 down.
Good, Ben, good.
And they just need to settle themselves down. It's a long old game on a big old pitch, but they can't allow the Panthers to get up ahead of steam. 6-0 early. Final game of 3 on finals weekend at Wembley. It's the 2023-1895 Cup, and there's an error, and Batley do have possession in a really good piece of the pitch here.
Well, Simon Griggs will be disappointed. I think with a little bit better skill there, his team go clean through again, and I think on that right hand side it's Matty G who coughs the ball up. Maybe it could have gone to the sweep runner in Saltonstall out the back or Pickersgill, sorry, as a fullback, but Batley will be certainly really happy with the possession and 10 metres away.
Great chance to hit straight back. James Brown rolls up his sleeves and says, this one's mine. White from dummy half. Back behind everyone. Great pick up off Meadows and then knocked on. And they put a great chance to ground, and Halifax immediately will have the ball back in their hands.
Yeah, Kieran Buchanan was given no chance, really, was he, by James Meadows? We'll see here on replay. Josh Wood goes to the line, he pulls it back to Meadows. It's a poor pass to Meadows, isn't it, from Woods, and then he coughs it, you know, passes on another poor pass. And when I was playing, it was don't pass on a poor pass and maybe try and take a tackle, but Meadows gambled and Buchanan couldn't take it in. Halifax survive.
So a very edgy start from Craig Lingard's Batley Bulldogs. It's been quite a week or so for Craig Lingard. He's combining this head coach role of Batley, a role he's had, it seems, for 100 years. He's Mr. Batley, isn't he? But this season as well, that's a good defensive effort. He's assistant at the Castleford Tigers, and he had a few hours in charge of the whole team when Andy last lost his job, had to negotiate to just to come down and do Wembley this weekend.
It's difficult for him, isn't it? Because there's so much upheaval at Castleford Tigers. So will he remain in post beyond this season? And he's already left post at Batley, hasn't he? So Andy last, his dismissal means something which Craig Lingard probably didn't anticipate.
Well,
that is all to be sorted out after this game, though, George, isn't it? This is such a big game.
The appointment of Danny Ward allows them to do a bit of planning, Castleford. But this is about Lingard and Batley. Of course, it's Castleford-Wakefield next weekend in a huge game at the foot of Super League. As Hooley, what a story for Luke Hooley as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real fixture over the last few years in this Batley side. Got his dream move to the Leeds Rhinos. Had a horror of a debut. Finds himself loaned back to Batley, and here he is at Wembley.
Well, I thought he played a really good game last week, though, didn't he, for Leeds? I thought it was outstanding for Leeds last week, and there was talk of whether he would come back here to Batley for this game, but I think thankfully that there's been an agreement between the two clubs which allows him to come back, and he's been such a stalwart of a figure, hasn't he, for Batley over the last couple of years, that certainly deserves to be in this game.
Great offload, Brown to White, and there is the man we're talking about, Hooley. Looking to buy a penalty, I think, there. White will eventually play the ball to his left-hand side immediately where he finds Woods, and oh my word, the errors are coming thick and fast.
Yeah, and if Craig Lingard wanted to start a rugby league game, this is the horror start, isn't it? It's a polar opposite of a perfect start. They've coughed up the football now on the 3 possessions that they've had. Halifax have coughed it up once, completed 1 set and scored a try off 1 set, so a really, really edgy start from the Bulldogs.
There is Lachlan Walmsley, the match winner in the semi-final down at London with an intercept, length of the field try, out on his own. 30 tries in the championship alone, scoring for fun. He's added a couple in the cups too. There he goes infield to Woodburn Hall. Leeds University, old boy, my neck of the woods. There's more, Dufresne, he's going to dab one over the top. Oh, Hooley never got anywhere near that. Now then, was there a knock-on in there?
I think it's a knock-on from...
Well, there was certainly a secondary knock-on from Halifax, but was it put down by Hooley first? The referee said it was.
I thought the Halifax player got his hand to this and knocked it backwards. 4 sets incomplete. You can hear Craig Lingard, you can almost lip read him there. That's the first 4 sets we've incompleted. And that's a horror start for a rugby league team.
So another opportunity for the Panthers in front of their own fans, who are bouncing at the moment in fine voice at Wembley. Back at Wembley, seeking a first Wembley win in 36 years. They made a great start. That was ruled off Hooley.
6 of 1, isn't it, George? Half a dozen of the other. It could have gone either way.
What a chance. Dufresne feeds the scrum, and immediately with Woodburn Hall. Walmsley screaming for it. They're almost there. They're over the line.
I can't got that ball down for me. There's too many Batley Bulldogs defenders.
It was Brandon Pickersgill, almost dragged over the line, but he knew he hadn't got it down.
He was almost there though, wasn't he? Woodburn Hall to the line and plays on that sweep line again to Buchanan, who shows great strength to get to the corner but just held up.
There's Kavanagh setting Halifax up again in front of the sticks. Here's the try scorer Moore, attacking a post with Woodburn Hall. No look pass. No way through this time for Colcott, who's already in the wars. Moore. Woodburn Hall, good step.
Super form, isn't he? He was fantastic last week.
Really dangerous
Victory
player.
over the Rovers.
Moore, short ball. They're going to score again, Halifax.
Yes, they are.
Kavanagh this time. Oh, he's held up. The fans are celebrating. But Jack Smith says no.
It looked for all money. He was over the line. I'm not sure why or what the referee and the near side official have seen here, but I think he should really score, shouldn't he? Kavanagh. He squirms out his
Seems to have done
tackle.
the hard bit.
Yeah, he gets away from.
Oh, does he not get that down?
Wow, it's some tackle though, isn't it?
Well, it's a high shot.
now. And this is getting a bit tasty now, isn't it? Both teams pushing and shoving when Kavanagh almost goes over there, and then the high shot follows it, and Halifax are in prime position again to try and register points. It was Luke Hooley that got Giuffre, wasn't it?
High one on Giuffre. It's been a hot day in the capital. These players, don't forget, have had to hang around a little bit as well after the drama of Golden Point. Got to get the heads on here. Halifax tick 6-0 up, 12th minute of the final, with Moore, the try scorer. Thinking about it once again, goes all the way back to Giuffre. They're going to just set up in front of the sticks with Matty G.
Yeah, I think they just got it all wrong there, didn't they? I think Moore didn't know what Giuffre wanted. Now the set up for the play. Here we go.
It's Corcott promotes. No way through for Dan Murray. But they can see the line. They can sense try number 2, the Panthers. Moore. Woodburn Hall dabbed it to himself. Batley will deal with this. Pickersgill was there and forces a drop out. The pressure is relentless on this Bulldogs line.
Yeah, it's Buchanan who got his left boot to the ball, wasn't it? And you're right, this is relentless pressure from the Panthers, isn't it, on the Bulldogs line? And Craig Lingard mentions that's first 4 sets incomplete, but you couple that with some penalties that they've given away in their own 20, and all of a sudden the energy battle is certainly being won by the Panthers, and this may come back to bite Batley on the backside later in this game.
So Hooley drills one low, hoping for a difficult bounce. Halifax field it on halfway, and here they come again with James Saltonstall. 200 appearances today. What a place to celebrate that milestone. Zach McComb takes it on.
Only if he wins, George.
Yeah. Call it 200 next week, otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woodburn Hall, Giuffre again. Those two linking up well. Pickersgill over the top once they can't get there.
That's good defence, isn't it, from the Bulldogs' right edge, because what they do is they pressure Pickersgill and they challenge him to produce skill which is better than their up and in defence. And you just see here Giuffre goes to the line, he finds Pickersgill, and it's the centre on this right edge, isn't it, Josh Hodgson, who just jumps out of the line and pressures Pickersgill, and his skill doesn't stand up to that pressure. I'm pretty sure Craig Lingard will have got a message on. There's a couple of trainers out there now with the Bulldogs saying we have to complete this next set of 6 after completing none from 4.
Batley just need to complete a set, settle down.
Absolutely, get to the end of the set and find a kick, isn't it, and try and turn the ball over on their terms as opposed to giving the ball back to the Panthers.
And I think they're just happy to run up the middle and complete the set.
Yeah.
With Riley doing just that. Meadows again. And Kieran Buchanan wearing 3 but playing in the second row once more. It is the last and they have reached a kick. So improvement of sorts from the Bulldogs. Towering bomb off the left boot of Josh Woods. Well dealt with Brandon Pickersgill.
Yeah, and then he gets over the 20 as well. It's a wonderful catch, isn't it? But as you said, Craig Lingard will be delighted that his team have got to the end of the set. Josh Wood's kick was difficult for Pickersgill. He made it look easy, and Halifax have possession back.
There's Wormsley again. He'll have been excited about playing on this big, expansive pitch with his pace.
Absolutely.
Saltonstall. It's just settled down a little bit now after that explosive start. 3rd minute, Brandon Moore try. The difference, along with the boot from that man, Giuffre.
I think as stupid as it sounds, I think Craig Lingard will be delighted it's only 6-0, won't he, George? You know, the start of the game when you've only completed 1 set out of 5, which is at 20%, which is so low as a percentage in any game of rugby league. I think at 6-0 he'll be delighted.
Last tackle Panthers.
Outside,
Woodburn Hall. Walmsley's after it.
Down, he's down first.
And the turnover on the 15 of the Bulldogs,
Your side, Ben Kavanagh.
who bring it back with
Move
Josh
well.
Hodgson.
That's it. Go to. Okay now, Jacob. Move.
The Panthers fans making all the noise at the moment.
He's square, he's good, Matty G.
Of course, their coach leaving at the end of the year as well, Simon Grix.
Release. Go for. He's playing ball, mate.
And his side in the ascendancy with a 6-0 lead. Batley over halfway,
Left. Move, Jacob.
looking to complete back-to-back sets. And
Back,
they will.
run the
This
ball.
is the last. Where's he going to go this time? Hooley goes high.
Martin Riley.
Spiral bomb from Luke Hooley. Pickettskill again. Good starting position. Good take.
Well, he caught that one really well again, didn't he? On the end of his fingertips, really, when he catches that. And he finds Saltonstall, who then gets out of his 20 again. I think Halifax are turning the screw with the way they're turning the ball over. With Wormsy, who caught, just as the Batley Bulldogs player catches the football, he hits him, and Saltonstall's able to gain 10 metres after kick. So right now you would say that the Panthers are in control.
Oh, and the referee says, just take it back and have another go there. Reminder, the Ray French Man of the Match award is voted by you today on our league. It's the fans' vote.
Adam Glenhill.
That takes the pressure off the man to my right, Paul
Absolutely
Cook.
takes the pressure off me. Absolutely.
But at the moment,
Away from the
the
ball,
Panthers have
Dave.
made the start.
Square,
Last
Ben
tackle,
White.
6-0 up. More to Dufresne.
Brandon.
Hooley, just juggled it. And sets
Dan. Halifax
Batley
10.
up just beyond their 20.
James Woodburn.
Backdrop of the Halifax drummer,
Move, Brandon. Let's
pounding
get it.
away at the
Go,
drum
Jacob
behind the
Fairbank,
post to
you're
our
not
left.
square.
James Brown.
You just see them coming out of trouble here, Batley. There's just not enough push with James Brown there, or there's not enough deception in and around him, and now they've dropped the football off the back of it. James Brown makes an error, and you can just see that the ascendancy is with the Panthers because they've completed more sets, and Batley have turned the ball over far too much, and with that you have a lack of energy, and you send players one out and then they get dished up like that, and then James Brown knocks the ball on, and there's just not enough push and deception around the ball carrier for the Bulldogs, and that, as I say, that comes with a lack of energy.
Too many errors from Batley. Another opportunity for Halifax, who have a 6-0 lead, but it feels like they're in
Let's go, boys.
control of this
Heads in, stay tight, Josh. Heads in, boys.
final at the 18-minute mark.
Luke. Shot clock off.
Dufresne
Ball, Louis.
feeds the scrum and sets us off on another Panthers attack. Woodburn Hall. Wormsy was yelling for it, didn't quite reach him.
Held! Move! Tackle one, Kieran!
Woodburn Hall feeds Wormsy, just pops it up.
Two. Josh Hudson! Stay here, two, Kieran!
Moore after the drive from Dan Murray.
Through
There's
almost.
Corcott again, almost through, you're right.
Sorry.
Move!
Moore. Dufresne. Gledhill's got a grip on him.
Four, Ben White away! Adam!
But they're defending for their lives again here.
Go for.
It's Brandon Moore, little scurry. Woodburn Hall steps out of the tackle. Still going.
Move!
Last tackle with Moore. They're going to run at the post here. Millimetres short is Jacob Fairbank, but Batley defend their line.
Yeah, stout defence, wasn't it, from the Bulldogs, and they're all hands on deck at the minute, George, defensively. And as I said, now have a look at the lack of shape. How many players can you see under the post there, George, in our shot? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 I can count before the first carry's made, and these are tough old carries, typical of Dane Manning to take the first.
Well, Batley put 42 points on Halifax when they met in the championship last month. Craig Lingard
In fact, both coaches before the match called that a freak result. Luke Hooley with a hat-trick on that occasion. This was never going to be anything like that. But Batley need a spark.
Well, they need to stay in touch, George, and at 6-0 and only one trying to go behind, they're certainly in touch, and maybe Halifax will be a little bit disappointed that they're not further in front in this game, but the Bulldogs are holding on.
Move that! Square up, Danny, hold this 10. Go forward.
It's Brown again. Almost lumbers into the tackle.
Last tackle! Move it!
Grounded on halfway. Last tackle.
Go, Carl, mate.
White's looking for his kick options on the last. It's going to be the left boot of Woods. Pickersgill barely has to move. And sets off another attack for the Panthers. Midway point to the first half
First. Move Martin!
of this
Ben, straight square!
1895
Oh,
Cup final.
Wait, lads, wait! Go.
The holders for the next hour or so, remember, a lead.
They hold both now, George, don't they? I mean, what a story that is, isn't it? You know, for any championship club that wants to look at that dream of getting into the Super League and winning a trophy, one of the two main trophies on offer, and Lee Leopards have just shown you the way, that is for sure.
Move Kieran!
Absolutely. Lee, 12 months ago at Tottenham, far too good for Featherstone Rovers. Last tackle, Panthers. Woodburn Hall on the deck, he's out of the play. Moore is going to come back to Jouffre. Says challenge that, does the Frenchman. Oh, and they do. But Saltonstall takes and loses.
He did a good job there, didn't he, Aidan McGowan? Because what he did do is he allowed Saltonstall to catch the football and then made contact on him as he caught the ball, and that allowed him to force the error. And then off the back of that, I think there's a little bit of a push and shove again.
Yeah, referee's going to have to deal with this. Matty G's been called in.
Certainly some feeling in it, George, isn't there, between the two sets of players?
Well, you would hope so in a final.
Absolutely.
Let's have another look at this.
I think Matty G's saying he's got his forearm up, hasn't he, and put it into his throat, and then off the back of that, Matty G just gives him a shove to the back of the head, which ultimately isn't going to do a great deal to Hooley.
And then Luke Hooley applauds in his face.
Yeah, there's
antagonises his opponent.
A couple of rhinos butting heads, nothing really in it.
Come on, Matty, keep your head.
But all that means off the penalty is that it's a much-needed piggyback for the Bulldogs.
Absolutely, they get up to halfway on play one, which is somewhere they haven't been since the error from Halifax in the early stages of the game.
Now what can Batley do? In opposition territory with Meadows, almost through it.
Great line, wasn't it? And a great tackle from Woodburn Hall, who hang on.
Meadows, here is Hooley. He may be a marked man after that.
Still the Batley fans below us on the right-hand side now.
They've found their voice, the Bulldogs. Their team have made their way up to their own fans, within 10 of the posts, under the sticks now.
Hell, release down 5!
With Ben White. Gledhill, the big man, wants it, goes behind him to Meadows. Still going to Hooley.
Well, he got that again, and Luke Hooley gets caught there again because Meadows' pass is just slightly behind him, and unfortunately for James Meadows, he's got to get them passes on the money, George, because if he's just slightly behind, then Luke Hooley gets smacked like that, and deservedly so. The Halifax defence is outstanding on the left edge.
A really poor place to turn it over on the last as well. If you're going to run it, being forced back 10-15.
It's only 20 centimetres off being on target. If the ball's in front, then Luke Hooley can do something with it, find a kick or run the ball. But once it's behind him, he takes all momentum away, does Meadows' pass, and the Halifax defence find it then easy to shut down the play.
6-0 in the cup final, live and exclusive on our league. Paul Cook, a Challenge Cup winner in 2005 with Hull FC. Try scorer on that occasion as well.
Yeah,
Cardiff.
It's a long time ago now, George.
Gliding through the Rhinos' defence. And here come Halifax, looking to build on their early advantage. Last tackle, with Moore, the try scorer, going back to Jouffre.
This time he looks for Saltonstall, who again allows Batley just to claim.
Well, I think he's offside, Saltonstall, and it's poor play from Saltonstall to be just a metre in front of Dufresne. But once he's called offsides, it's easy for the Batley defence to get up and catch the ball. It's Aidan McGowan again on that left wing who gets up and then makes metres off the back of it because Saltonstall's just a metre in front.
Again, it's the Batley fans you can hear willing their team back into this contest. They have stabilised, I would suggest, after an edgy start.
And them carries are the best for them, aren't they? They're getting out of dummy half, and them outside backs are really making carry after carry.
Oh, Kevin Leroy has put his... I mean, what is he doing there?
He's just gifting possession back to Batley, and for such a good start now, George, if this set of 6 yields something for the Bulldogs, all of a sudden there's a different complexion on this game.
It was almost apologetic from Leroy. He put his hand in instinctively and then thought to himself, what have I done?
Never square, was he? He's just come off the bench. It's poor play, isn't it, from Kevin Leroy, who's got so much experience at Super League level, let alone Championship.
Absolutely. And here come Batley. Can they find a way onto the scoreboard here? Josh Wood's attacking the line. White. Ben White wanting to go on his own. Is he over? He is, but he's held up. Batley fans celebrating a try that doesn't exist.
Well, that would have been 1-1, wouldn't it? Brandon Moore sneaks over from dummy half, then Ben White could have replied, couldn't he, with a similar try.
Coming right again. Best opportunity of the match. That's Niall Flynn off the bench. White. Meadows. Woods. He's going to kick. He's going to get a repeat set.
Penalty.
Oh, it is a penalty taken in the air, you're right.
Aidan McGowan's just got to hold his position there, and in big games, as I mentioned this so much, take away the emotion from this game and try and make smart decisions, because that's a really dumb decision, isn't it? When Saltonstall goes up to make any contact on him means you're giving a penalty away. The really, really difficult thing for him to do there is let him land and then force him over the dead ball line so that they get a repeat set from a goal line dropout.
So no way through so far for the Bulldogs. And now here come Halifax. Leroy running in. It's been a dramatic day at Wembley. But Halifax have the start here. Tangata off the bench. Woodburn Hall. And then Kavanagh grounded. They come left again, Woodburn Hall. Walmsley's after this one. Hooley takes, wrapped up by Lachlan Walmsley.
That's exactly the opposite of what we've just seen from Aidan McGowan, isn't it? Walmsley allows Hooley to hit the ground and then jams him, and that means that Bulldogs now have got such a difficult job to get out. It's a great offload by Morton, who's pulled back there, isn't he? But it's so difficult now. That's play 2 inside their own 10, and they've got to get out of there.
Batley treading water. See Sammy Kabula, the big man, out there as well. Both sides making interchanges as we approach the half hour at Wembley. Meadows.
It's flown by, hasn't it, George? That's a 40-20
looking for a
attempt.
40-20. Needs a favourable bounce. Pickersgill is back and he's across. And not sure Walmsley wanted that, but he sets off anyway. Nailed by Kabula.
Yeah, he could do with Kabula making some really big impacts here, couldn't he? Some high energy stuff from Sammy Kabula may spark.
Well, he did in the semi. They had big impact in the semi. They need, as Paul says, the same here.
Hold this 10 now. Wait, lads, wait. Go. Yeah, you've got
With the Panthers on top.
3 away, Batley. Keep coming. Go.
McCoon,
Niall Flynn,
and then Dufresne has a little dart himself, running at the big man Gledhill.
Go for all, kept hold.
There goes big Adam Tangata.
Move, Sammy! Come on, Kieran. You're good. Go 5.
Dufresne. Well, this time Saltonstall does take, and then Batley wrestle it back.
Yeah, there's a competition between the two of them, wasn't it? I think McGowan comes down with a football and wrestles it away from Saltonstall, but it's another good end to a set from the Panthers, who are really turning the screw on the Bulldogs. In terms of a metaphor, in terms of boxing, you're talking 10-8 in round.
Square, just stand up, you milk it.
Yeah, trading blows at the moment. Here is Kabula. As we approach the half hour, just the one try came very early.
It's flown by, hasn't it, George, the game?
Half an hour in the blink of an eye.
It doesn't seem a minute ago that Brandon Moore scampers over from dummy half.
Last tackle.
Alistair Lee.
Woods again.
That's nasty.
Oh, it's a really good take and he's away. Kabula was right on him though.
Move, Sammy. You like it, come on.
Saltonstall's eyes lit up for a moment. Pickersgill, Wormsley. Will he get a chance today?
Alistair Lee and Josh Hodgson.
Well,
For offside.
Batley are offside.
Another easy out, isn't it, for the Panthers? And now all of that time they've turned the ball over early in this game is catching them up because they're taking shortcuts, not getting back onside by just a metre. And Jack Smith's going to punish you with that. Too much of a quality referee. He's left too many top grade games to miss really guilt penalties to be given away like that.
Brandon Moore gets a breather. He's been excellent for Halifax.
Don't go in, Dane.
But Adam O'Brien is on in his place.
Square up, Josh. It's
Here's Dufresne. It's been involved in everything. That's Ryan Lannon, another of the Panthers interchanges.
You'd argue here, George, that they deserve to be further in front, wouldn't you, in the opening 30 minutes?
Tangata with Woodburn Hall. Skipping away is Jake Mason.
Stand for 3.
O'Brien has a look. Tangata again. Seeing a lot of the ball since his introduction. O'Brien with Leroy lurking on his left shoulder. Has a look at Leroy and goes right. Gives it to the other Frenchman, Dufresne. Did Kabula take him high?
You're going to go 8 in front here. That is a high shot.
Apologetic look. What, me? It was you, Sammy. And they will take the 2. And Halifax are poised to move 2 scores clear at 8-0 in the 1895 Cup final.
Yeah, he didn't miss the big fella, did he? He caught him clean. Dufresne just stepping a couple of the Batley defenders from the outside there, manning one of them, and Mickey Ward the other, and then Kabula collects him high. And Simon Griggs' team are going to go 8 in front, and you must say on balance of play, George, that they deserve to be 2 scores in front the Panthers. They've been by far the better team. They've played the better, they've given more quality, they've ended more sets. It's really disappointing for Craig Lingard and Batley, but I'm sure that they want the half-time break, and Craig Lingard would like the half-time break to get at his team and right a few wrongs.
So Dufresne to take us to 8-0. Right in front of the posts. No mistake at all. Dings it through and true. And Halifax have an early stranglehold. Half an hour into the final. The Panthers leading 8-0. 2 from 2 from the kicking tee for Louis Dufresne. Simon Griggs, the Halifax head coach, was at Warrington when they won at Wembley in 2009, 10 and 12. Didn't play though in either of those finals. So this is his chance in his final season as head coach at the Shea. As Hooley diagonally restarts. Pickersgill again got his starting point right, and Leroy with the first carry.
Move, Kieran! Sammy, make the 10. Go on, 10's good.
See Michael Ward out there as well. His first carry, the Bulldogs forward, is always very entertaining. Scatters opponents everywhere. But he's got some defending to do first, as Halifax enjoy more possession with Ben Kavanagh. O'Brien, Tangata. There is Leroy on his right shoulder. But Adam Tangata grounded himself. O'Brien and then Leroy takes it on.
Surrender. 5. Stop.
Halifax reach halfway on the last.
5. Pressure, man. No, you've just gone too in.
Dufresne. Woodburn Hall with the right boot. Taken, leaning forward by Dale Morton.
Yeah, super take, isn't it, from Dale Morton? Again, just on his fingertips. It was a nasty kick, wasn't it, from Woodburn Hall? That came down in akin to a crisp packet coming down out of the sky, and Dale Morton gets his fingertips on it and collects it.
That's going to be a penalty, is it? Taken high was McGowan. So they can't say they're not getting a helping hand up the pitch, Batley.
They're getting some help up there, but they're not coming up with enough, George, Addy, in that good ball area of the field where, you know, the red zone of Halifax Panthers, where they need to make decisions on the defensive line just behind them. And Batley have got to ask more questions for me when the try line's so close to them.
Now would be a good time to score for Craig Lingard's side. Outplayed for most of the first half, and here they are with Kabula as he kept hold. No, he hasn't.
It's Mickey Ward again, who's the ball's just slightly behind Sammy Kabula. We'll see it again on replay where the pass is just slightly behind, and if you're not on the money in these big games, you get jammed by the defence from outside in, and Kabula this time comes up with the error on play 2, George, inside the Halifax red zone.
Just not giving themselves a chance at the moment.
You see the
Never
Ward
in
pass,
control.
the Ward pass is just behind Sammy Kabula, and I know he maybe should catch it, but he's got to catch it and then worry about being hit by the defensive line who will come in up and in. Lingard will be really disappointed with his team's skill level in this first half.
Yeah, we saw that over the course of the first 40 or so in the Challenge Cup final. High on drama and intensity, but the quality in some areas was lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the team that can stay the calmest, you know, not necessarily the team that are the most aggressive or make the most meters, but the team that can stay calmest and can get to the end of sets and can put the ball out in front. You know, the really mundane skills that we take for granted as rugby league players have got to be bang on in big games.
Woodburn Hall just extends the arm to Tangata, says this carry is yours. Last tackle in the painted sponsors logo, and off he goes. O'Brien from dummy half. Did he know it was the last?
I don't think he does, but if I'm a half-back playing alongside him, George, I'm giving him an absolute rocket up his backside, because I know that there's only one marker there. I know that Sammy Kabula's out of the game, and I know there's 10 metres, 15 metres for you to grab. But if I kick the ball another 25 metres and put Batley in the corner, then that's a much better outcome than you trying to scoop through the middle of the ruck.
It was almost like Batley laid that trap and he took
it. Exactly. Certainly wouldn't have took it with some of the half-backs I played with. I'll go back to Danny Brough. I think that would have been the first and only time he'd have done it in a game.
Yeah. He would let you know, wouldn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a loose one, picked up by Meadows. Can Batley find something before the break? 2.5 or so to go. They've achieved parity in terms of possession, the Bulldogs. You're just not using it. Kabula, this is better. Hooley joining the line. That's going to be 6 more.
Yeah, Saltonstall had to come in, didn't he? Because they'd stripped them for numbers there. Some wonderful skill this time from Batley. And when they do put it together like that, George, they certainly look a more dangerous team. And they look like they was going to get on the outside here of Saltonstall. Yeah, wonderful play from Saltonstall to get his hand in. Elliot Keir just trying to tip the ball onto his winger outside of him, Aidan McGowan. Had he got it there, Aidan McGowan had some free ground right in front of him.
Let's go, boys. 4-5. Brandon, you're in, mate. Let's go. Ben, let's go. Shot clock off.
Another opportunity then for Batley. 2 minutes before the break. Live here on Our League, exclusive free-to-air coverage of the 1895 Cup Final. Meadows steps in field. This is more like it. Alistair Leak's on, he can make things happen. Niall Flynn, yeah, just to the right of the sticks with Leak. Kabula was hanging left, they've gone right with Meadows. Taken in field by Buchanan.
And what a different complexion this game takes, doesn't it? If the Bulldogs get over and it's 8-4 or 8-6, what a different team talk that's had by both coaches.
Leak with Meadows. Woods. Hooley bouncing off a couple, running at Dufresne. 5 away with a couple to go. Halifax having to defend their line. Early kick towards the sticks. Who's winning the chase? Halifax get there, and it's going to be 6 more from the dropout. This is the best spell of the match right on half-time for the Batley Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's dabbed down, isn't it? I think it's Pickerskill who gets to the ball. The kick from Woods hits the post. If it doesn't, I think there's enough Halifax defenders there anyway. But the fact it hits the post, it's anybody's, isn't it? And Pickerskill's the man who gets down there first and plants the ball behind his own line for a goal line dropout. And this is a huge set, isn't it, for the Panthers? Because at 8-0, as I said, George, it's a different complexion to 8-4 or 6. And Simon Grix will be desperate for his team to keep the Bulldogs scoreless before half-time.
There goes big Sammy Kabula.
Ryan, move! Yeah, go on.
Leak. There's Michael Ward. Oh, he took a high one, did he?
Move!
Referee says that's
Back
all
here,
right.
come on. Get here.
It's not okay if you're Mickey Ward, is it?
That's all right by the referee. Here's Woods. Meadows. Starting to look more fluid, Batley. Hooley.
Move, Jake! Back here, Ryan. Hold.
Hodson with Morton outside him. All his other mates back inside. Meadows. Oh, he just delayed,
Move
had to run it
now.
himself.
Adam Tangata, get here.
Alistair Leak, he fancies it on his own from here, not this time.
Kick to the corner from Woods.
It is. Who's going to win this one? Halifax favourite, comfortable in the end, and they're away. Now then, Pickerskill. Oh, he's hit by Leak. Right on half-time. Huge shot, Alistair Leak. And the Panthers high-five. What an end to the half.
Yeah, the great kick from Josh Woods across the field, wasn't it? And this time, Saltonstall does get up, doesn't he? He doesn't get tackled in the air, but he gets up, makes the catch and the grab, and then he feeds a player who's charging onto the football. The tackle had to be made from Leak and was made. But I think that's a super half of rugby league from Halifax Panthers. I think they fully deserve an 8-0 lead, possibly could be in front by more. And I think Craig Lingard's got a real job on in them changing rooms, because his team are trudging off the field and are going at a real slow pace. You see them just walking off, and I know Halifax are all walking off, but they're walking off together. They're unified. They've played a really good 40 minutes of football, and as I said, they fully deserve their lead at 8-0 at the break here.
Well, no Batley head coach has ever been in a Wembley dressing room with a half-time team talk to deliver.
I think the paint's in trouble in that dressing room, George. I think he could strip the paint off the walls and really serve his team a real good hiding at half-time there. This is really poor defence, isn't it? Brandon Moore just picks the gap outside of Brown and carries over the line, Dame Manning with him. It's just really poor, isn't it? The numbers around the ruck. Just have a look. Hooley's there, Brown's there, Manning's there. Listen, it's just really poor defence from there. Martin Riley's another one in and around the ruck, and just far too easy. This is the difference, isn't it? Let's have a look. The pass behind Meadows and then the pass in front of Buchanan. They just can't afford to dish that up in big games, George. You've got to have that skill level on the money. Halifax then again attacking off a scrum. Pickerskill carries over the line almost, doesn't he? Carries him 10 metres. Josh Hodson just goes over the line with him. Fortunately, that keeps the score still at 6-0. Nearly return served, isn't he?
That was White going over from dummy half, but being held on his back. And really, those highlights, if you call them that for Batley, explain why they are scoreless on the board.
Yeah, it's not so much what they've done in them highlights or not done. It's what they have done is they've gifted possession back with poor skill. And if you showed the number of errors that they've made, there'd be much more of a package there from Batley Bulldogs, because they've made far too many of them errors. And as I said, they may be lucky to be on nil, George, as stupid as that sounds, and Halifax could be further in front because they've not really looked like opening up the Panthers.
Plenty of work to do for the Batley Bulldogs at half-time. Craig Lingard has got to get his side going. They finished the half actually on the up, but you never really felt they were a serious threat to that Halifax line.
No, Ben White being held up over the line is as close as they've been, isn't it? And a couple of kicks from Josh Woods from this right-hand side touchline towards the left-hand side, which Saltonstall's dealt with, been tackled in the air and dealt with the last one. That's as close as Batley has come. And Craig Lingard, I guess the message would be from me if I was in there and I was Craig Lingard, I would say we've got to calm down, we've got to get to the end of sets and turn it over on our terms, and then we've got to concentrate on front-loading our defence so that it gives us a chance down that end of the field to create more and use more skill and get the balls out in front. But you can have a real shot at some players in there, George, that have not passed the ball in front, and it sounds such an easy skill for a rugby league player, whether that's professional or semi-professional, to pass the ball 10 metres and in front of someone, and they're the real poor skills that Batley have dished up.
So big second half on the way here at Wembley, and you won't miss anything live and exclusive here on our league. Half time though, it's Batley 0, Halifax 8.
Jerseys everywhere. The 18-year-old scores. Wellesley's over for the first try in this World Cup. Yahoo's got the ball. He's kicked to the end goal, and they have pulled out.
Here we go then, huge second half on the way. And you just wonder what Craig Lingard has said to his Bulldogs players and how quickly they will heed his intentions to change the destiny of this cup final. It's 8-0 Halifax. Just the one try, as simple as they come. Hooker dummying over, burrowing over from dummy half. And look how early the Bulldogs are out. What does that tell you, Paul?
Well, it tells me that the change room's got a little bit steamy, doesn't it? It tells me that there's not any place to hide in there, and Craig Lingard's fired in at his troops and sent them out for the second half. So if I was Halifax, I would play to this, George. I would stay in there as long as possible, and I would wait for the referee or his assistants to come and knock on the door, and then I'd make them knock again. I'd stay in there and just let these Batley players stew on what has been a poor first half performance, because Halifax, I dare say, should be further in front, and that may bite them, but they certainly look like the more energetic team, don't they, that's played in that first half and defended their own try line manfully and willfully, with lots of turning up for each other on the inside. So right now you would say that Halifax are going to have to lose this final, and the Bulldogs are going to have to try and wrestle it in some which way, shape or form, because it was pretty much one-way traffic in that first half.
Well, here they come finally, Halifax, enjoying every second of the half-time interval.
Absolutely.
Final 40 minutes of this cup final triple header at Wembley. St Helens women, Lee Leopards, both already having parties somewhere.
There'll be no party for OKR, George, let me assure you. Listen, I know I played in one and won one at a Challenge Cup final. A year after I played in the grand final, and I don't know whether I was drunk for the next 4 months before, and even during the pre-season. It's so horrible to lose such a big game, and there certainly is no party afterwards, I can assure you of that.
Well, Batley Bulldogs have got 40 minutes to prevent experiencing that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Lee Leopards, I'm not sure they'll see the light of day for another couple of weeks, that is for sure.
Well, they need to enjoy the moment, but they've got a Super League title charge to focus on next.
But it's easier to get over winning the cup. I know that sounds stupid, but it can take such a long time to get over losing a big game. Fortunately for me, it was the last game of the season in the grand final, and I had 4 months to get over it before the start of the following season. But OKR have got a job on to get up for next week.
Here we go then with Halifax and Batley. Second half of the AB Sundecks 1895 Cup, and Dufresne's going to kick on the fourth here. Dissecting winger and full back. It's a good kick. It's turned Luke Hooley around.
It's a superset, isn't it, to open the game? And if you wanted your team to come in who have been dominant first half, and you give them a game plan to go out and play the first set of 6, then Halifax have just played that perfectly.
Offloading on the floor, referee happy to let that one go. That's allowed the Bulldogs an extra 10 metres or so. Tangata, who's been excellent since he came on in the tackle with Leroya. Here come the Bulldogs. There goes Michael Ward. That's what he does. That's more like it. That's what he was brought on for. Alistair Leake. This is a good set from Batley, you know, from right on their own line. Last tackle, 40 out from the Panthers line. Leak over it. Meadows hanging back, has to change direction. It's Woods to go high. Comfortable for Pickersgill. Has a good look at it, but then it's a good chase too.
Yeah,
that's
really.
a good set from the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly a damn sight better than the first half, George, isn't it? Where they cough the ball up the first 4 sets, and the pinned Halifax. This is play 2 with Lachlan Walmsley, who gets caught 15 metres from his own line. So a better start from Craig Lingard's men, that is for certain.
They just need to stay in the contest, Batley. And the signs more promising. Start of the second half. This is the second set of the second half for the Panthers.
Get straight out, Niall.
Up towards the 40-metre line. Pickersgill, you can see, just buzzing round, looking for some scraps off Lannon. This is the last Dufresne. Where's he going to go this time? Well, Hooley's barely going to have to move here.
You're all good now.
Not the best from Halifax. Hooley's got his pick. And the Bulldogs will start on 20 or so.
Yeah, it helped for the Bulldogs, didn't it? When they turn the ball over so close to the Halifax line and they keep them penned towards the line. The kick from Dufresne's got to be from over halfway, hasn't it? And that gives Hooley a chance to catch it at the back and counter-attack.
Out, Ryan!
Here's Leak. Kabula has a little look. Tries to pick his hole and then flings it backwards without looking. He's got a penalty for his team. High shot.
Yeah, and this is probably Craig Lingard's dream start, isn't it, for his team, because his team was so poor in the first 4 or 5 sets of the first half that this is the polar opposite. And now there's certainly one team in the competition you don't want to give a chance to, and that's Craig Lingard's Batley, isn't it? Because once they get a head of steam up, George, then they're so difficult to stop.
There you saw the Bulldogs head coach in his trademark bucket hat, always barefoot as well this season on the touchline. I was chatting to him this morning. He told me he hadn't even brought a pair of shoes down with him. two different pairs of flip-flops. Here come Batley. Can they strike at the start of this second half? Much more like it from them. Leak, 5 away. Hooley's hovering this near left side. Oh, he feints to go to Hooley and then back using the big angle. I'm not sure that was the play because Kabula was on a standing start there.
Look how slow the play the ball will be from now, George, where Kabula hits the ground and it's so difficult then for him to get up and play quick.
Meadows showing the dummy. Woodburn Hall had to get him and did.
Ankles together. Well played, Woodburn Hall.
Woods is kicking for this near touch line. It's a great claim. Can he get it backwards? No, I think he lost it forwards. Halifax have it anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a turnover on the 10, isn't it? I think just had enough players around Elliot Kiro. Did get up really well, didn't he? Catches the ball with his arms fully stretched out. Means it's so difficult for any Halifax player to get over the top of him. Saltonstall lets him have it. Did a really, really good job, didn't he, on that left edge. Zach McComb it was who made the error.
Batley's best 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah.
Here's Wormsley. And that's another positive for Batley, is that they've been able to keep that man quiet so far. Scored a lightning intercept try, length for the field at Roslyn Park in the away semi-final victory. And dreadful conditions down at London. Blimey, it was a monsoon in West London, that.
I guess for Simon Griggs' team here and the Panthers, it's about weathering the storm, George, isn't it? Because there was always going to be a purple patch where Batley picked up, and as you've said, the last 5 minutes has been the best 5 minutes in the game. But if Halifax can weather that and get to the end of their sets, then it makes it more difficult for Batley to crack them.
Dufresne kicking on the last, but again, Hooley doesn't have to move, although it just dipped and caused him to lean forward to take possession, and Morton takes it on.
Panthers have been great on kicks, haven't they? They've kicked the ball, and there's such a dangerous back three in Hooley, Morton and McGowan that they've played really well, Halifax, in penning them inside 10-12 metres when they catch the football.
We talked about Lee Leopards having to get over the euphoria of winning the Challenge Cup this afternoon and focus on their grand final charge. These two sides are in the mix at the top end of the championship too.
Yeah, and they may well replace either Castleford or Wakefield. We've already spoken about that on air, George, about how big a game that is next week.
There goes Alistair Leak, and he's away. Only the big man Kabula with him. So a change of direction. Alistair Leak had a look at his support and didn't fancy Kabula there.
Absolutely not. And then Dufresne makes the tackle and makes it a wrestling competition, doesn't he, with trying to pinch the ball.
This is the last Woods. Now it's ricocheting everywhere. It's just going to be play on, I think.
It's a good turnover, isn't it, George? If they can now front load the defence here, Batley, then they're going to put the Panthers under some pressure. And as I said, Simon Griggs' team have got to come up with some answers here.
Hands away, Dean! Get square, Batley!
Batley have started well. They trail 8-0. Brandon Moore's try. 2 from the boot of Dufresne. Panthers in possession. 1988, their last visit here, losing Challenge Cup finalists. They won it the previous year in '87. That one of the happiest memories of the Halifax history. Batley, as we mentioned, have never been here before. Their Challenge Cup wins came before Wembley got involved. Rushed off kick on the last. Referee has a look. He's happy enough with it. Hooley rushes over, diffuses. This is a proper cup final now.
Yeah, it is. It's in the melting pot, isn't it, George? You've got both teams going, hammer and tongue at each other here. Luke Hooley just getting to his feet. He was a little bit injured there in that big collision from the kick return, but both teams are really going at it here, and it's turned into a really, really quality game, hasn't it? I don't think we've seen an error this second half yet, George.
No, just the high shot, the penalty that allowed Batley up the field, but no unforced handling errors. Kabula takes it on, prop forward to prop forward. Ward was on his right shoulder. Referee Jack Smith barking at Halifax to get back the required 10 metres. Kabula again, seeing a lot of the ball. Couple to go this set for Batley. That was Dane Manning. They're going to kick on the fourth again off the Woods left boot. Pickersgill has a really good view of it. Takes it unchallenged.
I think for Batley, they shouldn't get bored of doing that, because what they are doing is that they're putting pressure on the Panthers by turning the ball over on good terms for them, and something will come off the back of it. Halifax maybe make an error or not. If Halifax can get to the end of the next 4, 5, 6 sets, then I think it's really difficult then for Batley to get back into this game.
Fitness always key in these big games with these part-time teams as well, on big pitches like Wembley.
I was just going to say, I mean, playing out there, George, it's difficult enough if you're a full-time professional player, and I'll go back to when I did play in the final. After 20 minutes I got cramp, and I never got cramp in a game before, and it's just coincidental that you're on such a big stage, and this is a big stage for them players.
Jouffret, well read again. Luke Hooley, he's screaming at his winger, wasn't where he wanted him.
I think he's took a little bit of a bang, Luke Hooley, hasn't he? And he's asking for McGowan there to get behind him to pass him the football so that he can make more metres. Dale Morton's offering himself the other side, but Batley is certainly in this contest here, George.
Let rip Hooley at McGowan there. He gave him a bit back as well, you know. But Batley have wrestled themselves back into the contest. They promoted the ball. Alistair Leake over halfway.
I think
Meadows wants a quicker play.
Got to play left here. There's only 4 defenders here.
Woods, that's where they come with Hooley. Grappled by Matty G.
This would be a penalty. I think his second effort there.
He had the whistle in his mouth, thought better of it, Jack Smith. Woods again. Dummy to Kabula. And then Flynn, nowhere to go. Jouffret as well.
The last play now.
It's with Leake again. Where is Woods going to go? High one off the left. Good take.
He's up above everybody.
Lachlan Walmsley.
He's almost at our height there, George, and we're at the top of this stand at Wembley.
Yeah, so level 4 in the lift to get up here.
He just took level 4, Lachlan Walmsley to catch that football.
Brandon Pickersgill took a big shot from Dane Manning.
He's made of granite, Dane Manning, isn't he? Granite.
This is in the balance. Halifax have an 8-point lead, but take that away. They're trading blows again. Halifax enjoying a bit of possession of their own with Zach McComb.
Returning save the Panthers though, aren't they? I know they're getting hit really hard and aggressively early tackles, but they're getting to the end of sets and they're finding good end to sets with kicks from Jouffret and Woodburn Hall, and they're putting the Bulldogs back under pressure.
Tackle one, wait,
it's not like they're trying to limp over the line, George, is it? Where, you know, you see them put the ball up the jumper, get to the end of the set and find a kick. Halifax is still challenging the Bulldogs when they've got ball in hand.
Next score in this cup final is absolutely crucial. Batley have wrestled themselves back into competition here. So the referee saying here, go back and play it again, please.
I think he gets away with that, mate. I think he pulls the leg of Adam O'Brien, Dale Morton. Really fortunate to get away with that.
A warning from Jack Smith to that effect as well. Kabula grounded, Woods delays, Meadow picks up. Link up is slicker all of a sudden for Batley. Last tackle, 40 away. With Leak. Hooley says challenge that. Pickersgill again. He's not missed much. I don't think he's missed anything today.
I think the back three of the Panthers have been absolutely superb, haven't they? Pickersgill, Saltonstall and Walmsley. They've caught everything, they've returned everything. So difficult for Batley, isn't it, to find a chink in the armour of the back three of the Panthers.
Dufresne. Saltonstall.
Oh, Dean! Sammy, pull right! Yeah, you're back now.
There's O'Brien with Dufresne on his right shoulder.
4. Away, Mikey Ward! Off the leg
Percentage
out!
Rugby League from Halifax right now.
Go, you've just got off the leg in time.
Oh, he's through.
Now then, clean breakthrough. What an opportunity. Good defence. They're back in number, Batley. What a dangerous break that was from McComb. And
I don't think Dale Morton makes a tackle here. I think he sees that he's slipping here and he pulls out of it, and then when he goes to ground he jumps on him and makes a tackle. And I think the Panthers players rushing in here could be very much like the start of the Challenge Cup final we've just seen, George, where I think it's Asiata who makes one of them tackles again. See him go through here, straight through, isn't he, Zach McComb? But I don't think Dale Morton makes an attempted tackle. Hard done to a little bit there, the Bulldogs.
it looked a little bit ugly. He never got where he wanted to be. Anyway, it's penalty. I'm sure they'll have a shot at goal here.
Absolutely. To go 10 in front is going to be a dream, isn't it, for Simon Griggs and his plays. I think the Bulldogs are a little bit unfortunate. The slip in the middle of the field, first and foremost, allowed the clean break from McComb, and then maybe Dale Morton at the end of it's hard done to, but certainly when you get these opportunities, you've got to be quality enough to take them.
So 13 minutes into the second half to create the first possibility of points. Dufresne has kicked 2 from 2. This is a very nice angle, albeit a bit further out, 35 metres from the posts. A fraction to the left of centre to give the Panthers a 10-0 lead in the 1895 Cup final. Dufresne to caress the ball through the middle of the post. Bolus once more, 3 from 3 for Dufresne, and a 10-0 Halifax Cup final lead.
You can't stress the importance of that, George, the importance of knocking over 2 points when it's on offer, whether that's to go from, you know, try into 6 points as Brandon Moore goes over early, or whether it's another penalty goal to put them 8 in front and now 10 in front. Just keep that scoreboard ticking over, and a quality goal kicker often wins these big matches.
Jacob, just leave it, mate.
One try, but 10 points in this one.
It's Colcott back off the bench, isn't it? He's easily distinguishable, isn't he? He's got the head tape on. He now needs it redoing. I think he's just had it ripped off. He's in the middle of the field there.
James, gosh! Go, Tim, you can't do that, pushing forward.
There's Walmsley running at the big man. Halifax now, even at this stage, a second try would give them real daylight.
Sammy Kimula, Sammy! That's fine,
And
fine,
running
fine.
at the markers cold is O'Brien.
Clever play, wasn't it, from the hooker there.
Mason and Woodburn Hall has a little look at what's on offer.
Alistair!
And Lannon takes it on.
Go, Adam Glenhill!
O'Brien once again. Woodburn Hall has a look
James Woodburn Hall.
and then says to Walmsley, have a go at that one.
5 is down.
It's a great take. But Batley being stifled all of a sudden.
Jake! Square, Jake!
It's certainly a swinging momentum, isn't it? The goal kick from Dufresne just swung the momentum back Halifax's way. Now Batley finding it difficult to dig their way out of their own 10-metre line.
Hold your 10 facts, wait!
And it's the Halifax fans making all the noise again. Over to our left.
Move!
Behind the Panthers' defensive line. That's where they're housed at Wembley this evening. And they'll be enjoying this. 10-0 against the Bulldogs. Kibula running at Kavanagh. Woodburn Hall making sure.
James!
So they dropped off the tackle.
Ryan, you're not square, Ryan,
Alistair
well
Leak. Meadows going.
That's an awful
high.
kick to catch.
Oh, he gets nowhere near it this time, Saltonstall. Look where it's gone. And the chase is wonderful from Batley, but he does well.
Stand, tackle.
It was an awful kick to catch, wasn't it? It was a really good contact from James Meadows, and that spiralled into the air. Saltonstall got absolutely nowhere near it and did really well to get out of his own in goal.
Move, Dean! Goal 3.
Jouffret. There goes Mason again.
4.
Giving the big forwards a breather off that left touch line with Walmsley.
Surrender. 5, stand! Square Adam! Goal 5.
O'Brien thinks about a kick and then delivers, but it's poor, really poor.
Yeah, he might as well have passed that to Dale Morton, hadn't he?
Oh,
Gonna get down there and make
slips
the
and gets
tackle
there,
up.
O'Brien.
Move Adam and square! Wembley Jacob. Goal 1. Step, James! 2. Louis, straight out!
Sammy Kibula takes a breather.
Go, Matty, you're not square, Matty G. Louis good.
Alistair Leake still out there and he's dropped the ball. Knock on, big moment in the final. And then he said something and Halifax have another penalty.
I just can't speak like that. Is it Adam Gledhill who? Yeah,
Well, it was a knock on. The referee immediately upgraded that to a penalty.
Lads, it's a penalty. Descent off Adam.
Dissent against Batley. Kickable penalty in front of the post. Jouffret's going to have another go here.
Well, this puts them within, 2 scores in front, doesn't it? And that means the Bulldogs, who haven't scored for 56 minutes of this game, George, have got to score twice in 25 minutes. So it's a big kick again for Jouffret, and another unforced error coming out, isn't it? Adam O'Brien gets his hands on his opposite number there, gets him to ground, forces the error, and then Gledhill speaks out of turn to a referee that just will not accept that in Jack Smith. And rightly so.
I don't think any referee
rightly
would.
so. Well, I'm sick of it, George, on social media. I'm going to start blocking people who abuse referees because they've got the toughest job in the game on the field. It's easy for players to play out there with 12 friends alongside them. Referee's out there on his own with a couple of people on the sidelines that are assisting him. And they don't mean to make any mistakes, that is for certain.
3 from 3 from the right boot of this man. Louis Jouffret to make it 4 from 4. He's already turned, he knows. It's a 12-0. Halifax Panthers lead with 23 minutes of the final remaining.
And the body language of the Batley Bulldogs players will tell you everything about whether they believe they can get back into this game. The chase on this kickoff will tell you everything about whether Batley believe that they can get their way back into the game and turn it around and win it. Because right now they're running on empty, George, and that comes from all of the errors that they made early in this game. They need an error from the Panthers, and the Panthers haven't looked like making an error second half.
Well, it's not quite now or never time for Batley, but they need to get a wriggle on.
Yeah, absolutely do, because the longer it goes where the Halifax get to halfway and find a good kick at the end of the set, and the longer it goes where they keep knocking them sets off, the less likely it is that the Bulldogs are ever going to get back into this game.
Woodburn Hall.
Beginning to fall off
Hard
tackles.
break from Woodburn Hall. He's had a good game. Really good game. A reminder, it's your pick for the Ray French man of the match. Our league is the place to vote.
There's a little French fella out there that's not doing a bad job, is he?
He's been pretty faultless. Woodburn Hall. There's Colcott again.
5. Move. 5
Last tackle,
space
40
now.
out right side.
Hold, wait.
Jouffret's hanging.
Goal 5.
Here he is.
Another good end to set.
And this has given a real opportunity to chase. Oh, Hooley, was he taken out? No, he's fine. Referee had a really good view of that.
I thought he did a really good job, didn't he, Aidan McGowan, of shepherding him off the football there. Saltonstall trying to make a grab on Hooley. Aidan McGowan just shepherds him off the ball and gives Hooley a free catch.
Move well. Fully agree with that, Cap.
Some half-hearted singing coming from the Batley fans, but they need their team to spark something too.
4. Jacob away.
They've had a decent little spell after half-time, but Halifax back in firm control now and throwing the ball around really nicely. Hooley could be in touch far side. He is.
Yeah, and that's again, it's Batley who are trying to get the way back into this game, going to an edge, and Halifax are just shepherding him that way and just throws him over the sideline, doesn't he? Hooley ends up sliding towards the sideline. The Panthers player allows him to go alongside him. It's a fabulous tackle, isn't it, from Jake Mason, who just throws him over the sideline. And they're the moments in this game that the Bulldogs just haven't won enough of them big moments, and the Panthers have. And as I say, they fully deserve a 12-0 lead here, George. And if we thought that the next score in this game was imperative at 8-0, then it's certainly imperative at 12-0, that is Batley, because if not, then this is going to run out in Halifax's favour.
Held! Release Josh!
The Panthers dictating as we head into the final quarter of the game.
Compounded that error now by not being clear of the ruck. Jack Smith's decision's a really easy one. Ryan Lannon just forces the Bulldogs to make another error, and another piece of ill-discipline costs Craig Lingard's men more ground.
Fast forward 30 seconds, they're going to be defending their line.
And a drop goal wouldn't go amiss, George. Any sort of point that puts you 3 scores in front, and I know it sounds really stupid that so early in the game at 61 minutes, but I tell you now, it's a long way back to score 3 tries in 20 minutes when you haven't got 1 in 60.
I know that Dufresne will have that in his mind, Paul, already. He's kicked 4 from 4. He'll know that he's got that chance, but they fancy more.
I think Dufresne's pointing at it now, George. We can see from our vantage point, you can just see Dufresne shepherding the players towards the posts.
12-0 Halifax lead. Final quarter of the 1895 Cup final. O'Brien, here's Dufresne. Matty G takes it on. They're right in front of the sticks, right side.
4 players.
The cup final's here for them here. O'Brien. Lannon right over the top of Brown.
Dufresne just sits in a pocket, should knock it over.
The last tackle, they're not interested yet. O'Brien's just going to turn it over.
It's as good a place as any to turn it over, but I'm really surprised, as you said, George, if he didn't have in his mind that he should be given a message to have it in his mind from his coach, Simon Griggs, now. But these are just awful moments for Batley. You can see from where we are, we're high up here on our league app, and you can see the Batley players are just congregated around the football. There's no shape that's offering anything to the outside of the defenders that are defending for Halifax. It's just too easy for them to eat them up down the middle.
Leak. Woods. Hooley. Keir. Rare foray over halfway for the Bulldogs. McGowan. Woods. Meadows, this is better. Much better from Batley.
Away, Jake! Find space, Kieran!
Buchanan grounded on the last. Where's Meadows going to go this time? It's a narrow one. They're going to get the ball here.
Backward, still 5.
But Dufresne is quickest to react. It's still the last. Hack forward. He's onside, the chaser. Pickersgill is there. He's not put a foot wrong either.
No, the back 3 again, clean up the kick. It was just 2 kicks really, wasn't it? A manufactured one from Josh Woods after the one that the Panthers allowed to bounce, and right now they just look really comfortable. If there's ever a game of rugby league at 12-0 that look really comfortable, then Halifax are in it.
Away, James Brown!
Just not offered enough, the Bulldogs, for me.
James, good.
Woodburn Hall. Halifax now 1 more score.
Lannon's give the ball back.
Now then, this could be the moment for Batley.
That's the first error second half from the Panthers.
Alistair Leak. The Bulldogs fans find their voice. Glenhill grounded.
Out, Jake! Get left!
Can they find a way through?
Every comeback's got to start somewhere, George, and I think Craig Lingard will want it to be now.
Brown.
Space, James! Step back!
Leak. Meadows joining in behind White. Woods picks it up. Hooley. Almost there, left side. Manning has a quick look. They want to speed this up, Batley. but it's frustratingly slow for Manning. Woods, White, and then Gledhill. It's the setup.
They've got to go to their right here, me.
It's the last tackle. What have they got, Batley? White, Meadows. They're running it on the last. They're going to get caught in possession. Flung out the back door. What a pass that is! It's a wonderful Wembley try. And Batley are back in business. Morton off a beautiful pass.
Josh Hodgson has just thrown one of the best passes I've seen, George, in any game of rugby league. Let's have a look at this on replay. You just described it. What a pass that is. And that is the pass of the Challenge Cup weekend for me. That is an absolutely sensational pass from Josh Hodgson. Have a look at this. Wow, he's not even looking. Take a bow, son.
It's an incredible Josh Hodgson pass.
Wowee.
Dale Morton had the easy bit. And out of nowhere, Batley are back in. Back in the game, back in the final, back in the hunt.
That's absolutely sensational, George. That is one of the passes of the season, let alone to grace a Wembley Stadium as it has done. Take a bow. Josh Hodgson, he's just put his team right back in it. And all of a sudden, we're 12-4 with a kick to come.
Hooley needs to kick this.
Well, there's some voices found to our right-hand side, George, that is for certain.
This to make it a one-score game. Hooley doesn't like it. Oh, he does now!
Wow.
He stayed motionless, transfixed until the flags went up. And out of nowhere with 14 to go. Batley are on the board. Halifax's lead is trimmed to a converted score. The Panthers lead 12-6.
And I think Ryan Lannon would love his time over again and not throw that intercept pass when they're on the front foot, but take absolutely nothing away from the skill level there of the right centre. Josh Hodgson, who's just put it on a plate for Dale Morton. And as I said, that is a piece of skill worthy of any entrance fee into this Wembley Stadium. That is a wonderful, wonderful pass out the back of the right hand.
Don't go anywhere. Halifax were coasting. We talk about big moments. I was talking to Danny Maguire during the week ahead of the Challenge Cup final. He was telling me about finals, how they need a moment. Sometimes it's a Rob Burrow moment. Sometimes it's a defensive Danny Houghton moment, but there's always a moment.
Yeah, there is. And big games are won on them big moments, George. And to give yourself a lot of opportunities of them, you've got to keep hold of the football. But you know, for as poorly as Batley started this game, they're right back in it at 12-6 with 13 to play.
And the Bulldogs' tails are up. Woods, Meadows, playing with renewed vigour.
Well, they look much better, don't they? They just look like a different team here. The passes are sticking, they're out in front, they're over the halfway after a kick-off.
Hooley on the last was he taken late? Referee has seen it.
I think that's fair game for me.
Referee agrees with you. Hooley stayed down trying to get the penalty.
He's not going to get it from there. I think he's fair game there to be tackled. I think he's almost hit as he kicks the football, or he's in the process of kicking the ball when he's hit.
Well, he's up. He's absolutely fine. He stayed down. Got a bit of treatment, but I think there was a little bit of Hooley trying to get the call there, wasn't there?
Yeah, maybe so. That's good play from Halifax, trying to shift it in yardage.
Borderline high referee Jack Smith. He's
been very good though.
I was going to say he's not got a lot wrong. I'm not sure he's got anything wrong.
And the game's flowed, hasn't it, George? With not much blowing off the whistle.
Tangata taken on by Jacob Fairbank. Great feel around this contest now. 12 to go. Halifax in the ascendancy. One try apiece. Dufresne's boot the difference. Last tackle on halfway. Tangata plays the ball. Here is Dufresne. What's he doing?
Not needed.
What's he doing?
And they're big moments, George. The big moments where you've got to keep your head. You've got to find a long kick. You can't give possession back to the Bulldogs just on halfway. And Dufresne's done that. He's been faultless today up until then. That is something that we can say.
That was a rush of blood on the last tackle on halfway from the Frenchman. Tried to kick to himself. He would have only stealed 5 metres.
There's no material gain in it, George, is he? If he picks it up and gets tackled, there's no gain.
And now Batley are offloading and leaks away, dancing out of a couple. And the Bulldogs fancy this now. Riley. Left of the post, 15 out. Tackles in hand with Leak. Down the middle, Woods. Oh, it's an awful one behind everyone. Riley will dive on it. It's play on, but they've lost a bit of ground and a lot of momentum. 2 to go. Leak. Ben White. Meadows. They're going to set up on the last here. Buchanan grounded. Hooley's over it, so he's out of the play. Meadows looking for a Pete set on Pickerskill's there again.
Yeah, very brave, wasn't he, Pickerskill there. Brandon Pickerskill puts his body on the line for his team, gets down low and collects the football, and now all of a sudden it's the Bulldogs with the tails up and defending strong.
Another reminder, the Ray French man of the match vote is yours. Get voting on Our League.
Let's move, James!
The choice on the poll is live. It's candidates are 4: James Meadows, Alistair Lee, Louis Dufresne or James Woodburn Hall. 4 to pick from. Make your selection. Get voting on Our League for the Ray French Man of the Match award. We'll confirm that for you with a couple of minutes to go as Woodburn Hall goes long.
That's a super kick from Woodburn Hall, isn't it?
He gets 3 favourable bounces.
Yeah, really, really quality kick, and I suppose he's just shown his half-back partner Louis Dufresne how to do it when he's kicked through on that last play on the previous set.
Into the last 10 minutes of the 2023 1895 Cup final. Time being called off, and that's why blood everywhere on James Brown.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of claret rolling down his forehead there, hasn't he?
A little bit.
Well, I'm saying that. It looks like a tattoo, a Mike Tyson tattoo, doesn't it? I think he's... Look at...
Wow.
A couple of war horses there, isn't there? I'm not sure how you're going to stem that blood flow on James Brown, but they're going to try and keep him on the field.
I'm going to put Rugby League into Google. Show them that image.
Look at the fans of Halifax here. This is brilliant, isn't it? The drums on full show. This is absolutely brilliant.
Panthers fans in fine voice. They've waited a long time for this. Batley have waited even longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the Panthers know they're almost there. They're roaring their heroes home. 35 years since their last trip here. It is today Halifax's day. At the moment it is, but there might be a sting in the tail. We're back underway.
It's always really dangerous, George, for the listeners on Our League app to be voting for the man of the match, because it still could turn out to be a winning performance for Batley. If the scorer try and go to golden point, we've seen what can happen in these games. Hulkiar and Lee earlier on, a try on the hooter almost gives Hulkiar more ascendancy, and I know Lee pinched it at the end, but the same could happen here with only 1 score in it.
Well, you can have a player of the match on the losing side, of course, that's
yeah,
all right.
Of course, absolutely.
My mind goes back to Challenge Cup finals where I remember the Gary Connolly one.
Well, I was in one. Kevin Sinfield was named man of the match.
Yeah, it's not an award you want to go and pick up, is it?
No, it isn't for me. It isn't for me. I always think that you should pick one from either side and announce it just on full time.
Well, hold that thought, because here come Batley. It's the last tackle this, so they're going to have to put a little kick in. It's a good little kick. Saltonstall has done well, but the Batley chase is good. They've still got time. 8 minutes to go. Dufresne.
You're looking at percentages now, George. As a member of the half-back club, you're looking at 4 sets each. You're talking about if you can complete 4, then they've got to find a try on their 4, and they've got to chance around. You might force an error out of Batley. You're looking at percentages and where you kick the ball on last play and how far you kick it downfield once you get to the end of your sets.
Here's Lachlan Walmsley. Hasn't had a chance today in terms of tries. Hasn't had a look in. But Halifax are still in the ascendancy. Last tackle on halfway. It's going to be Woodburn Hall off the right boot. Has that gone straight to touch? Yes, it has. Big error from James Woodburn Hall.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. So all of a sudden Halifax have gifted possession back to Batley in good field position where they're going to start this almost on the halfway, and it's about them halfbacks now that bring home a victory which has been hard-earned in the middle of the field by the big fellas.
Another Batley opportunity. 6.5 left. The bandage, Brown, offloading.
Super play
to
from
White. It's got to be error-free rugby league for the Bulldogs now. Leake has stayed out there. Woods. Meadows, as always, on his right shoulder. Slips into the Halifax tackle. Leake slots in. They can see the whites of the sticks once again. Batley here. Riley straightens up and runs at Tangata. Leake yelling instructions over his left shoulder. Behind Brown. Meadows. Woods. Hooley. They're going to get 6 more. Saltonstall instinctively put out the right arm, and Batley have a full set to come on the Panthers line.
Well, it's not only that, is it? Is it a scrum in the middle of the field, George? And these are so difficult to defend against because there's always an overload of numbers, 4 versus 3 on one side. Luke Hooley will sit in behind here. And
what play are you running here, Cookie, if you're out there?
If I'm James Meadow here, I'm going right at the line as far as I can, and I'm getting Luke Hooley to sweep around late, so it creates that 4v3.
What have they got up their sleeve, Batley?
There you go.
Leake running right. Meadows. Hooley. That's the play Paul Cook called. Halifax were wise to it, but they were never onside.
And that is the play for me. There's a choice here. Do we carry on and go for a golden point here, or do we take 2 and then... Well, they've tapped the football, so they're going for try and level the game.
You go for it. If Halifax are going to see out this cup victory, they're going to have to do it with a solid, resolute defensive effort. Backs to the wall for the Panthers on their line. The Bulldogs sense Panthers blood here. Alistair Leake. Woods. Meadows. Opening up.
Great tackle. I think that's Woodburn Hall who gets Kavanagh, isn't it?
Leake. Over the line, held up over the line.
Short the line, tackle 4, he's short.
Woodburn Hall's tackle on Buchanan, sorry, it was absolutely sensational.
Here's Meadows, shows a dummy, and then Tangata's there to clobber him. The fans enjoyed that one. Leake looking to get his charges going. White, Ward stamps one over the top. Who's going to win it? It's going to be Batley ball. He might be in touch here. And he is in touch,
I think it's
unless the referee says he's been... What's he going to say here?
It's a knock-on from Saltonstall, isn't it? It's the only error that the back 3 have made from Halifax. You've had Pickerskill, who's been first class, Walmsley on the other side, and that's the first error from Saltonstall, and it could prove to be really costly again. Midfield scrum to Batley.
The Bulldogs saving their best till last, but is it too late? 3.5 minutes for Craig Lingard's men to rescue this cup final.
Same play for me, George. Get the ball
exactly
to that
the
right
same
edge.
play. Leake to Meadows. On to Buchanan, who's hammered by 3. Leake wants a quick play. Brown, battered, bruised and bloodied, but still pumping the legs. Leake behind White. There's Meadows again. There's Woods again. Short ball, Kavanagh.
Manning, isn't it, on the short lead? This is really desperate defence for the Panthers.
Was Manning, beg your pardon. Woods. Meadows. Now then, oh, it's gone behind. It's going to be another 6 to come.
It's a penalty now.
What an end to this cup final.
Well, it's almost just ignited into life, hasn't it, from that piece of sublime skill from Josh Hodgson, who feeds it to Morton, and then the goal line conversion, the touchline conversion from Hooley means this game is right back at it, and the players are not disappointing here.
You can sense the nerves behind the post to our left, where the Panthers fans are housed. They're willing their side to keep their line intact.
Well, they've got to come left here to Wood, haven't they? They've got Wood out on this side, then they've got Elliot Keir running that short lead line before Hooley's on the sweep.
Here come Batley with Hooley. Halifax scrambling for their lives. Leake. Manning. Leake will get it back on the floor. As he knocked on the floor, he's gone backwards anyway. It'll be play on. Manning. What a defensive effort this is from Halifax. Meadows trying to make something happen for Buchanan.
Well, they're rolling the sleeves up, George. If they win it with defence here, then you can't begrudge them the trophy.
White. Riley. Towards the line goes Martin Riley.
Matty G, what a tackle.
White. Leake with a change of direction and another. It's on the Hooter,
play.
it's the last play. Hooley.
Oh, that's dangerous, that ball.
It's still alive, Meadows. He's kicking for the corner. If Halifax take this, they've won it. It's still alive. It's come out of the back. Batley throwing it around. Desperate stuff from the Bulldogs. Still they
there's a
come
chance
with Riley.
here.
Meadows. Last play. Hooley's there. He wants it. Hooley keeps it going. There.
What a try!
Unbelievable finish. And Elliot Keir scores. Batley have a kick to send us to a tie. What Wembley drama. An unbelievable score on the Hooter. They threw the ball around. They have nothing to lose. Elliot Keir gives Luke Hooley the kick of his life.
Well, who'd be Luke Hooley? I mean, he's got to calm himself down here amongst the euphoria and ecstasy of the try that they've just scored. And let me tell you, George, we could replay the last two tries from Batley Bulldogs all night, absolutely all night. I could sit and watch them. How the heck have they kept that ball alive? That is a super play from Batley Bulldogs. And this is really, really calm stuff, isn't it, from Dane Manning? Because Dane Manning takes it into contact. That is a super pass from Dane Manning, who affects every bit of the inside defence from Halifax pushing over, and Elliot Keir has the easiest of jobs to put the ball down in the corner, and Luke Hooley to send us into extra time as a kick from this sideline.
How are your nerves?
I just fell off my chair, George, here. That is an unbelievable rugby league try.
The Ray French Player of the Match award, by the way, has been won by Louis Dufresne. The Halifax number 6.
What odds, George, would we have of 2 Golden Point Cup finals on the same day at Wembley Stadium today?
It couldn't be a tougher kick, maybe by half a foot.
Well, it could be on the other side of the field, George, for a right foot kicker, couldn't it?
You're right, fair point.
And he's
Good
nailed
angle.
that, and he's nailed that. In or out, George?
But not under this pressure. I'm not backing anything here.
I'm going to back him.
Let's just enjoy the drama.
I just think rugby league players are there to make themselves heroes, and in particular kickers. Here we go.
Can Hooley be a hero? The Hooter's gone. If he misses, Halifax have won the cup. He's put it wide. Luke Hooley has put it wide. And Halifax celebrate. The Hooter sounds. Luke Hooley is inconsolable. Halifax hang on. But what a cup final. Batley gave it everything second half. They were one kick away from Golden Point extra time. Hooley's kick fades wide, and it's Halifax Panthers who win at Wembley for the first time in 36 years.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the players. It's really difficult, George, at the end of such a big game to not have ecstasy etched all over your face and to run over to your fans. But there's one player down there that's just gone over to Luke Hooley, first over from Halifax, and that's James Saltonstall. And that is a touch of absolute class from the right winger from the Panthers, because he is inconsolable, Luke Hooley. A missed kick, which missed by a coat of paint, George. We're right behind that. And our back players to make history, but that is such a tough kick, and he cannot be in any way, shape or form given any blame towards what has been a fantastic game of rugby league that we've just witnessed. And you would say on the balance of 80 minutes that Halifax probably shared this match, and rightly so, that they'd probably come out on top. But what a game that the Batley Bulldogs made it at the end of this. 2 superb tries of the utmost quality, but unfortunately it comes down to that missed kick at the end. But take nothing away from the Panthers, I think they deserve that.
We'll get some reaction in just a couple of seconds' time. These are the key moments of the game.
Yeah, a really tough one, wasn't it? You know, if you want to point to a reason you've lost the game, then your goal line defence in minute 1 of the game can't be so shoddy, can it? And that's just too easy for Brandon Moore to pick up and scoot over the try line in between a couple of really, really quality championship players in James Brown and Dane Manning. Riley as well was in there. This time there's a kick across the field. Catch from Elliot Keir forces the error, second half. That's a super bit of play, isn't it, from the Panthers defence on the right edge. This is the break, isn't it, from the centre. Zach Makumu goes clean through. This forces another penalty from the referee. I'm not sure whether that's a bit harsh, but listen, Louis Jouffret still had to kick it. This is a Ryan Lannon. I'm sure Ryan Lannon would want to take this piece of play back. He finds a pass and Ben White collects it. And then it's about the skill and the sublime skill level of the right centre, Josh Hodgson. I mean, have a look at this, George. I mean, I'd pay money to watch a pass like that every day of the week. If I was paying to come into Wembley today, then I've got my money's worth with that pass alone, let alone this last try. I mean, you fail to... Words fail me with tries like that, and the last one where the ball's kept alive after the bell. It goes back to wide to west, doesn't it? St Helens, Bradford, in such a big game in the Super League back in the day. But this is absolutely brilliant from the Bulldogs. The try at the end of the game is absolutely sensational. The skill level of all of the players to keep the ball alive. Almost over the line a couple of times, and Halifax have defended staunchly, haven't they, keeping the players off the ground and unable to ground the ball. Error from Saltonstall again gives field position to the Bulldogs, and they had to make it pay, and when the hooter goes, they did make it pay. I mean, we could replay these big moments over and over again, but
this was the big moment.
This is it, isn't it? Hodgson again finds a pass out the back. I mean, this is a super pass, isn't it? It's just clipped on by Ben White. I mean, that's a wonderful play. Meadows onto Manning onto Hooley, and when Hooley passes the ball to Keir, it's hero or villain time, and I don't think you blame it. Listen, I was a goal kicker myself, George, and there was a coach of mine who said goal kickers don't lose matches, they only ever win them, because what's happened previously in the game means that you're never going to be the villain, because you should have stopped points before then, never mind kicking a goal off a sideline to level a game or win a game. So I think Halifax on balance just shared that, and it was
a fantastic finish. All our thoughts with Luke Hooley with a difficult conversion miss, but we can get some reaction on Halifax's cup final victory. Andy Wilson is down with some very happy Panthers on the Wembley pitch.
It's unreal to be fair. I never think I would have played in this stadium, and to do it with them boys, they're unreal. I love them all. Look at that wave of support we got. It's just unreal feeling.
And your goalkeeping was crucial today as well. You felt it was coming off nicely.
Yeah. I had a good nightmare with my kicking boots in the last few weeks, so good to put them on today to have the lad. I've done my bit, but our middle and backs, the carry they made and the tackle they made have been unreal today, so all credit to them.
You've been in England a long time, but would this be the highlight of your time in England?
I have to be really sad, playing at Wembley, home of England or anything. I just love it, so playing here with Halifax has to be a highlight.
And great to do it for French Rugby League as well.
Yeah, I think we got Tony Gigot, won the Man of the Match for Times Cup. I forget the name, sorry of it. So it's good to get one, two lads from Avignon, small town in France, so to get it here on the top stage is unreal.
Thank you, Louis, and enjoy the night.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you.
That's Louis Jouffret, the winner of the Ray French Player of the Match Award, and the Halifax Panthers players enjoying the moment as the post-match formalities start with the referee's presentation. Jack Smith and his officials done an excellent job here at Wembley this afternoon. The presentation party, including the RFL chair Simon Johnson there. The Batley Bulldogs players, while you're watching this, are just greeting their fans. There they are with Hooley and Meadows. And the Halifax players just enjoying the moment in front of their fans. Let's get some more reaction down on pitch side with Andy.
Well, Simon, you've done it, but it was nervous at the end.
Yeah, look, I feel for Batley, I feel for Wembley having to take a kick to try and pick something at the end there, but look, I thought we had from minute one. I thought we were the dominant team. I really like football. It's been up and down here, and a lot goes into this. Our club fans behind us, people behind the scenes that work to put this on. It's not an everyday occurrence. It's a doing to Wembley. I think we've done a really good job with it, and more than that, I thought champions were really just more than the right contributor, because that's two committed teams that really support this stuff and obviously ground it out to the very end. Come out on the right side of it. I'm really proud of the boys and the efforts they put in.
The defence all the way through was good, but certainly the last 5 minutes you had to work hard, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a great team, and everyone says it about Batley. They don't go away. They don't go away. They keep turning up, and they certainly did that. They didn't disappoint, and we had that energy and desire and want for each other, which you've got to have in these big games, and we just did enough. They come up with a brilliant play at the end. It'll look good when I go watch it back. That many offloads and sneaking in the corner would have been really disheartening. To have lost or tied the game on that, as I said, I thought we did enough.
I just spoke to Louis Jouffre, man of the match, and his kicking was crucial in the end.
Yeah, it was great. Apart from the shot one he did in yardage, which gave every Halifax fan in the stadium a bit of an heart attack there. But now Lou was good. He's been good for us this year. I think it's a bit of a forgotten thing. We've lost our number 7 a long while back against Saints in the Challenge Cup, and Louis come on and took a lot of responsibility on, as has Woodburn Hall and Adam O'Brien coming in, Brandon Moore. That spine's been really good for us, and you're right, Louis he's a talent.
And for you as a Halifax man, and also leaving the club at the end of this year, it must be a very satisfying moment.
Yeah, really proud. We'll enjoy tonight, but I am leaving at the end of the year, and we've got 6 league games and playoffs to go out, haven't we? So as coaches, we move on quite fast. But yeah, we'll definitely enjoy tonight, a few beers and share a bit with these, and then we'll look at the playoffs and try and make sure we can finish the season on the high, because obviously I ain't leaving today.
And you mentioned the fans a couple of times. I mean, Lee were in the equivalent position this time last year, and we saw them earlier today. It could be this sort of rebirth of the club in a way, this win.
I think it's great to get eyeballs on the club. But Lee are a bit special, aren't they? They're a Super League team playing Championship. We've got blokes who've had to get days off work, who, building sites, turning up to promos. Actually, Brandon Moore and James Brown both turned up in the boots and the work gear, all dusting off for the promotional stuff this week, which was pretty funny to see. But to emulate what they've done would be great, but we're not quite there yet. But hopefully we can keep some interest in our town and jag a few more supporters off the back of this, and that'll end up riding us there one day.
Thank you, Simon. Well done.
Simon Griggs enjoying his moment. This is Halifax farewell this season. Who knows what they might still do in the Betfred Championship playoffs. They're lurking dangerously in 6th at the moment.
Well, you wouldn't put it past them, George, either, would you? I mean, a sensational display last week against Featherstone, who were the table-topping team. That sees their coach Sean Long move on, and them have to rejig their backroom and their staff, and I'm sure they'll be okay, and they will be in the playoffs, Featherstone. But right at the end of this, you see, where Halifax have now beaten Featherstone a couple of times, and all of a sudden, when you're in there, the jitters start for Featherstone, and the nerves jangle, because they've never got over the line, even though they've spent plenty of money trying to get over there. I think Halifax are a real danger. I think Sheffield are another team who are a danger. The Bulldogs are a danger. There's no question about that. On their day, they can turn up and beat any team. I think that the race for Super League is well and truly wide open. It's Featherstone are at the top there, and many people would say it's theirs to lose, but there's plenty of people underneath them that are very capable of beating Featherstone on any given day, and that's nerve jangling for the Rovers fans and the Black Cappers over there. So yeah, I think Simon's right in what he said there as well. He's a really shrewd coach, and he never gets too high, he's never too low. He's already talking about going into the next 6 league games and playoffs, and enjoying the rest of tonight though, and having a few beers. But I think he's right, and I think his team from minute one was really dominant in that game, and Batley backloaded really and got back into the game before before almost pinching it and going to golden point there. But I agree with Simon. I think it maybe would have been a little bit unjust on his team, who was by far the more dominant team throughout the game. So congratulations to Halifax, and commiserations to Batley, who played their part in what has been a wonderful game of rugby league here.
Well, there were no smiles as the Batley players went up to collect their runners-up medals, but this is the happy walk up the steps, reserved this evening at Wembley for Halifax, led up by the player of the match, Louis Jouffret. Ben Woodburn-Hall and Jake Mazin making their way up, along with Brandon Pickersgill. And Louis Jouffret will collect his Ray French medal as player of the match this afternoon. And there you can see Derek Beaumont still there, enjoying the moment.
I'm surprised he can still see Derek Beaumont. I reckon he's sunk about 27 pints of lager since this team won the Challenge Cup there. Louis Jouffret certainly deserves his Man of the Match award, barring that one kick which Simon mentioned again in yardage, which he'll have to learn from.
Well, it's Derek's company, of course. AB Sundecks, sponsors of this 1895 Cup. Louis Jouffret with a Ray French medal. And the Panthers poised for their moment. A moment they have waited for since last winning the Challenge Cup in 1987. 36 long years. They did make it back here 12 months later, beaten finalists in 88. But a long, barren run of big game success. Until now. This is Halifax's moment.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful moment for what is a club steeped in history, George, isn't it? And commiserations to Batley, as we say, but this is the Panthers moment, and their loyal band of fans behind the post there that have willfully egged them on to defend the line at the end of the game, which has got them over the line.
3 gripping finals on Wembley Finals Day. St Helens women winning the first ever Betfred Women's Challenge Cup to be played at the National Stadium here. Lee Leopards dramatically etching their name into the history books as the first ever Golden Point extra time winners of the Challenge Cup. And now for the first time Halifax Panthers have their name on the AB Sundecks 1895 Cup.
Yeah, Brandon Moore, the skipper, isn't he? Very proud moment for Brandon, his family and everybody associated with the club.
He scored the first try in the final, and now he gets his hand on the trophy. Brandon Moore, and Halifax Panthers celebrate. They've had a long old wait to feel emotions like this, but Wembley awaits and applauds their Halifax Panthers. 36 years after they last lifted silverware up those famous steps here at Wembley, Halifax have their moment. They are the 2023 AB Sundecks 1895 Cup winners. A compelling final, and Halifax worthy winners.
Yeah, absolutely sensational. And these are memories that will last a lifetime, George. I put an X out on social media, or as it's called now, about the cup I won and the final I won, and these are memories that can never be taken away from you as a player. You remember these for the rest of your life, and they're so important to remember and celebrate because they don't come around too often in a rugby league player's career. So absolutely congratulations to the Halifax Panthers, Simon Griggs, the board of directors, everybody associated with the club. Really pleased for the band of supporters that I was sat watching the Challenge Cup final with behind the post there, where, you know, when Hull Kia were picked by Lee. Really pleased for them, and I'm sure we'll catch them for a beer at some point this evening.
Well, that's the picture at Wembley Stadium. It's been some day, and for the winners, St Helens women, Lee Leopards, and now Halifax Panthers, it will also be some night. I hope you've enjoyed our live and exclusive coverage here on Our League. That's as far as we go. Paul Cook, great to see you. Thanks for sharing
George,
this with
again,
us.
an absolute pleasure to be up here with you. This wonderfully iconic stadium that we get the privilege to be part of this commentary. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's invited me, for your professional job, and look forward to the next time that we get to do it.
The night now belongs to the Halifax Panthers. Lachlan Walmsley descending with the trophy to start the party for the Panthers. From Paul Cook and from me, George Riley, have a great remainder of the weekend. Congratulations, Halifax, the winners of the AB Sundecks 1895 Cup. From Paul and from me, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.